Hi my friends, how are you today? Hope you guys are good. We are at the Spirit book reading and we continuing chapter 3, right? And now we are at question 183 from Plurality of Existences, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, so question 183. In passing from one world to another, must a spirit experience a new childhood? Answer. Childhood is a necessary transition on all worlds, but it is not always as obtuse as it is on yours. Question 184. Can spirits choose the new world they will inhabit? Answer. Not always, but they may ask for and receive what they desire if they deserve it, because spirits only have access to worlds according to their degree of purification. Question that follows this answer. If a spirit doesn't make a request, what determines the world on which it will reincarnate? Answer. Its degree of purification. Question 185. Is the physical and moral state of living beings on each globe perpetually the same? Answer. No. All worlds are subject to the law of progress. All began like yours, in an inferior state. However, the earth will undergo a transformation. It will become a terrestrial paradise when all humankind chooses good over evil. And then there is a note. Thus, the race that populates the earth today will disappear someday and will be replaced gradually by more highly evolved beings. Such races will succeed the current one, just as the current one succeeded others that were even less evolved. Question 186. Are there worlds on which the spirit no longer lives in a material body and only has the pure spirit as its envelope? Answer. Yes. And that envelope itself becomes so etherealized that to you it is as if it did not exist at all. This is the state of the pure spirits. Question that follows this answer. So based on this premise, it would seem that there is no precise line separating the state of the final incarnations and that of a pure spirit? Answer. There is no such line. The difference diminishes little by little, finally becoming imperceptible, like the night fading away at the first light of day. Question 187. Is the pure spirit substance the same on all globes? Answer. No. It is more etherealized on some than on others. When it goes from one world to another, a spirit clothes itself with the matter proper for each world at a speed faster than lightning. Question 188. Do pure spirits inhabit special worlds, or do they inhabit universal space without being attached to any particular globe? Answer. Pure spirits inhabit certain worlds, but they are not confined to them as people are to the earth. They are much better than all others at being ubiquitous. And then he makes a note about ubiquitous. According to some spirits, of all the globes that comprise our solar system, the Earth is one of those whose inhabitants are the least physically and morally advanced. Mars, as a planet per se, is even less advanced, whereas Jupiter is far superior in every respect. The Sun is not inhabited by corporeal beings, but is a meeting place for high-order spirits who radiate their thought from there to other worlds, which they govern with the aid of low-order spirits by communicating with them through the universal fluid. Regarding its physical constitution, the sun could be a focus of electricity. It appears that all suns operate in the same way. Size and distance from the sun has no necessary bearing on the degree of the other planets' development, because it appears that Venus is more evolved than Earth and Saturn less so than Jupiter. Many spirits who have animated well-known personalities on Earth are said to have reincarnated on Jupiter, one of the worlds nearest to perfection. It is surprising that on a globe so advanced, persons may be found who might not have been considered so very evolved when they lived on the Earth. However, this is not so astonishing if we consider the possibility that certain spirits who inhabit that planet could have been sent to the Earth to fulfill missions that did not place them in very prominent positions, at least by earthly standards. Second, between their earthly existence and their life on Jupiter, they may have had intermediate ones in which they evolved further. Third, on that world as on this one, there are different degrees of development, and between those degrees, there may be as much difference as that separating the primitive from the civilized individual on the Earth. Thus, the fact that they inhabit Jupiter does not mean they are at the level of the most evolved beings, in the same way that all persons are not on the same level as scholars as at the Institute simply because they happen to live in Paris. The conditions of longevity are not everywhere the same as they are on Earth. Thus, an age-based comparison is not possible. A person who had died some years ago was evoked through a medium and stated that he had reincarnated just 6 months ago on a world whose name he withheld from us. When questioned about his age there, he replied, "I cannot calculate it because we do not count the time like you. Moreover, our way of life is not the same. We develop much more quickly, so much so that it has been only 6 of your months since I came here. But I must say that in regards to intelligence, I am already about 30 Earth years old." Many similar replies have been given by other spirits, and these statements contain nothing implausible. After all, don't we see animals on the Earth that reach full maturity in only a few months? Why shouldn't it be the same with human beings on other spheres? On the other hand, notice that development acquired by a 30-year-old person on the Earth may be only a type of infancy in comparison with what he or she could reach elsewhere. We would have to be very short-sighted to consider ourselves the prototypes of creation. It would be the meaning to the divinity to believe that nothing else could have been created beside us. That's the Kardec note. Now, question 189. From the time it is first formed, does a spirit enjoy the fullness of its faculties? Answers. No. Like a human being, a spirit has its infancy. When they first come into being, spirits have no more than an instinctive existence, possessing only the consciousness of themselves and their actions. Their intelligence only develops little by little. Question 190. What is the state of the soul during its first incarnation? Answer. It resembles the state of infancy in corporeal life. Its intelligence is only beginning to unfold. It tries its hand at life. Question 191. Are the souls of our primitives in a state of spiritual infancy? Answer. It is a relative infancy, since they are already developed souls endowed with passions. Question that follows. So do passions indicate development? Answer. Development, yes, but not perfection. They are a sign of activity and an awareness of the self. In a very young soul, intelligence and life exist only in a seed-like state. Then Kardec writes under it, saying, the life of spirits as a whole follows the same phases as corporeal life. A spirit passes gradually from the embryonic state to that of childhood. Over a succession of periods, it arrives at the adult state, which is that of perfection, but with the difference that there is no decline or decrepitude as in corporeal life. Even though its life has had a beginning, it will have no end, and from our point of view, it needs an enormous amount of time to pass from spirit infancy to complete development. Furthermore, its progress does not all occur on one globe only, but on several. The life of the spirit is thus comprised of a series of corporeal existences, each providing an opportunity for progress, in the same way that each corporeal existence is comprised of a series of days over which the individual acquires greater experience and knowledge. Nevertheless, just as in human life, there are fruitless days. Likewise, in the life of a spirit, there are corporeal existences that yield no improvement because it did not know how to live them productively. Question 192. Through perfect conduct in this life, can we hurdle all the degrees and become pure spirits without having passed through the intermediate ones? Answer. No. Because what human beings imagine as perfection is actually very far from it. There are qualities they neither know about nor comprehend. They may be as perfect as their nature permits, but it is not absolute perfection. It is like certain children who, no matter how precious they may be, must still pass through youth before arriving at maturity, or ailing individuals who must go through convalescence before recovering their health. Furthermore, spirits must advance in knowledge as well as in morality. And if they have progressed in one sense only, they will have to do so in the other in order to reach the top of the ladder. Nevertheless, the more individuals advance in their present life, the shorter and less painful the subsequent trials will be. So, question that follows this answer. Can humans in this life at least assure themselves of a less bitter future existence? Answer. Yes, of course, they can reduce the length and difficulties of the path. Only the negligent remain at a standstill. Question 193. During the new existences, can humans regress to a lower level than the one they have already reached? Answer. In social position, yes. As a spirit, no. Question 194. During a new incarnation, can the soul of a mortal individual animate the body of a scoundrel? Answer. No, because a spirit cannot regress. Question that follows the following answer. Can the soul of a wicked individual become the soul of a moral one? Answer. Yes. If it repents, such would be a reward. And then there is a note of Kardec. The evolution of spirits is progressive and never regressive. They raise themselves gradually through the hierarchy and do not descend from the level they have reached. In their different corporeal lives, they may descend as individuals but not as spirits. Thus, the soul of a powerful person may later animate a humble artisan, and vice versa, because positions among individuals are frequently the inverse of the elevation of their morality. Herod was a king. Jesus was a carpenter. Question 195. Mightn't be the the possibility of improving oneself in another existence leads some persons to persevere on the evil path with the thought that they can always correct themselves later. Answer from Spirit. Those who think that way do not really believe anything at all. The idea of eternal punishment no longer restrains them because their reason rejects it. Instead, it leads them to question everything. If only reasonable means were used to guide humans, there would be no such skeptics. During its corporeal life, an imperfect spirit may think, as you have stated, but once released from matter, it thinks very differently. It soon perceives that if it has calculated badly, and so, to make up for it, it will carry an opposite sentiment into its new existence. Progress is accomplished thereby, which is why on the earth there are those who are more advanced than others. Some have already had the experience that others have yet to go through. The later acquire such experiences little by little. It depends on each individual to hasten his or her own progress or to delay it indefinitely. And then there's a note saying of Kardec saying like this: persons who find themselves in a dreadful situation desire to change it as quickly as possible. Those who have convinced themselves that the tribulations of this life are the consequence of their own imperfections will seek to ensure a new existence that is less painful. This thought will draw them away from the path of evil much more readily than the thought of eternal fire, which they know to be pure nonsense. Question 196. Since spirits can only improve by undergoing the sufferings and tribulations of corporeal existence, does it follow that material life may be seen as a type of sieve or filter through which the beings of the spirit world must pass in order to arrive at perfection? Answer: yes, that is right. They improve during such trials by avoiding evil and practicing the good. However, it is only after many incarnations or succeed purifications, and after a longer or shorter lapse of time, that according to their own efforts, they reach the goal meant for them. Question that follows this answer: does the body influence the spirit to improve it, or does the spirit influence the body? Answer: your spirit is everything. Your body is a garment that rots. That is all. Answer. Note from Kardec: we have a material image of the various degrees of the soul's purifications in the juice of the divine. It contains the liquor called spirits or alcohol, but it is weakened by the large quantity of foreign elements that alter its essence. It only reaches absolute purity after several distillations, each removing a portion of the impurities. The alembic represents the body into which the soul must enter to purify itself. The foreign elements are like the perispirit, which is more and more purified as the spirit approaches perfection. And guys, we stay here today. I hope you guys have liked this part of the book, and I'll see you next time. Big kiss. God bless you all. Bye bye.